Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to complete the process of digestion remaining part. Okay. Already we have completed the digestion in the buccal cavity, digestion in the stomach. Today we are going to start the digestion in the small intestine. So you all know that small intestine begins with the duodenum, jejunum and ileum. So from the stomach, so if you see this is the duodenum. Okay, this is the small intestine. Okay, right. So main site of digestion and absorption is the small intestine. Okay, it is the main site of digestion and absorption, and the main site of digestion is duodenum. So very important. So this is one question. The main site of digestion is duodenum. Then the main site of absorption of food is jejunum and ileum. Right. So already we know that in the stomach the food is partially digested. That means in the stomach only proteins are partially digested. So the partially digested acidic fluid food is called as chyme. So you know that it is called as chyme. Now this chyme reaches into the small intestine. In the small intestine, this acidic food get mixed up with the bile juice, pancreatic juice and intestinal juice. Okay. The bile juice is alkaline in nature, pancreatic juice is alkaline in nature, and intestinal juice is alkaline in nature. So, this acidic chyme is converted into alkaline nature. That means the acidic food is converted into alkaline food. Why? Because the trypsin and chymotrypsin can act only in the alkaline pH, not in the acidic pH. Now, let us see what are happening in the duodenum. So, action of bile juice. So, the bile salts is having the capacity to emulsify the fats. And bile is useful for absorption of fats also. And bile also activates the lipases. So, if you see here, this is the large fat droplet. Okay, large fat molecule. So, it combines with the bile. So, it combines with the bile salts. And the bile salts emulsify this large fat into small fat droplets. Okay, so these are the small fat droplets like this. Right, the small emulsified fat or fat droplets is called as mycelium. We call this one as mycelium. So it is very important. Mycelium plays an important role in the absorption. We'll see that one in the absorption of foods there. Right, so large fat droplets in the presence of bile salts are converted into small fat droplets called as mycelium. So conversion of large fat droplets into small fat droplets is called as emulsification. Right, let us see the next one. Action of pancreatic juice. So in the pancreatic juice, that means the pancreatic juice all consists of trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, carboxypeptidases, pancreatic amylase, pancreatic lipase, and nucleases. All right, but trypsinogen is inactive form. Remember that one. So this is an inactive form. Okay, and this is active. Okay, so the enterokinase present in the intestinal juice. That means intestinal juice consists of an enzyme activator. Remember that one. Enterokinin is an enzyme activator. Very important. So what is the enzyme activator in the intestinal juice? Means enterokinin or enterokinase. So this enterokinin present in the intestinal juice activates trypsinogen into trypsins, right? And this trypsin activates the chymotrypsinogen into chymotrypsin and procarboxypeptidase. So procarboxypeptidase into carboxypeptidase. We can see the equations here. Now we see the trypsinogen. This one is the trypsinogen. The presence of enterokinase is activated into trypsin. And similarly, chymotrypsinogen, the presence of trypsin, it gets activated into chymotrypsin. And procarboxypeptidase in the presence of trypsin is activated into carboxypeptidase. Right. You'll see the next one. Right. Now, if you see in the pancreatic juice functions, so the proteins, peptones, and proteases in the presence of trypsin, chymotrypsin, and carboxypeptidase, they are converted into dipeptides. Similarly, fats in the presence of lipases, they are converted into diglycerides. Diglycerides in the presence of lipases are converted into monoglycerides. Okay. Similarly, nucleic acids in the presence of nucleases, they are hydrolyzed into nucleotides. Very important. They are hydrolyzed into nucleotides. Now let us go for the next slide. Now let us go for the intestinal juice. Action of intestinal juice. So the intestinal juice is commonly called as succus entericus. Okay. Intestinal juice is called as succus entericus. It is secreted by what? It is secreted by the goblet cells of mucosa and brush border cells of mucosa. Right? Goblet cells of mucosa means secretes mucus. Brush border cells of mucosa secretes what? Enzymes. Let us see. Dipeptides in the presence of dipeptidase is converted into amino acids. Okay. Now let us go for the next one, carbohydrates. So if you see the maltose in the presence of maltase is converted into two molecules of glucose. Similarly, lactose in the presence of lactase is converted into glucose and galactose. And sucrose in the presence of sucrase is converted into glucose and fructose. All these three are simple sugars. Okay. Similarly, fats in the presence of intestinal lipase, they are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. Okay. They are converted into fatty acids and glycerol. Then if we see the nucleotides, nucleotides in the presence of nucleotidase is converted into nucleosides. This is also very important. And nucleosides in the presence of nucleosidase is converted into nitrogen base and sugar. Nitrogen base and sugar. Then if we see the digestion of proteins, in buccal cavity we cannot see any protein digestion. But in stomach, the proteins in the presence of pepsins are converted into proteases and peptones. That means they are partially digested. So, in the stomach, the proteins are partially digested. Then what happens in the small intestine? In the small intestine, proteins and partially digested proteins like protease and peptones in the presence of trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, they are converted into dipeptides. Okay, dipeptides in the presence of dipeptidase are converted into amino acids. So you all know that the end product of protein digestion is amino acids. So this completes about the digestion of the food materials in the buccal cavity, stomach and small intestine. So in the next class, we will go for the next class. In that next class, we will go for the absorption. So absorption and disorders. That means in the next video, we'll complete entire digestive system. After that, we'll go for the breathing and exchange of gases. Okay. Before breathing and exchange of gases, I want to complete the genetics part also. So next video onwards, I'll complete, after completion of this topic, I'll go for the genetics part, so that it will be PU syllabus, second PU syllabus will be completed. Right. So after completion of this topic, again we'll have complete exam, one more object exam on complete digestion and absorption. Okay. It's okay now. I'll conclude now. Right. Thank you very much, ma. We'll see you in the next class.